Welcome to Awaken, an educational, high vibrational, mystical, spiritual show. I'm your host, Danny. If you can hear the laundry going on in the background, I'm so sorry. Please try to ignore it. I need clean clothes. So today I want to talk about sex magic and the interview that I had with a real life sex witch. I am going to be smoking today because obviously this is a smoke with me. Guys, I haven't had this in like 2 months probably at this point. It is my favorite indica I have ever had in my entire life. A Golden State Snow Dream. Gorgeous. I'm actually gonna have to smoke off camera though because I'm hitting my gravity bong and the setup's just like not ideal to show on camera, so it's just gonna be in front of me. You're gonna just basically see me choking and coughing on the smoke. Whatever you wanna smoke, make sure you're ready. Also have something to drink. I have my water, my bad ASMR water bottle that complements my eyes. Wait a second, Danny, wait a second. Did you say sex magic and sex witch? Yup. If you don't already listen to Awaken Bake podcast, make sure you go do that because that's where the full hour-long episode of me and my co-host Kelsey interviewing a sex witch. Her name is Kaylee Kyman. We actually have a whole series on the podcast with Kaylee called Divine Feminine Embodiment. So this was like installment number 2 of that. We talked all things sex magic, sex witchery. What does that even look like? What does that even mean? So I want to tell you guys what I learned and like my main takeaways from it. Because I'm not gonna lie, I've been practicing sex magic for forever. I always say, I just call it manifesting and masturbating. I have a bunch of episodes on that. I go way into detail, too much detail, honestly, about my process. So if you want to watch, go ahead and look at past videos or past podcast episodes about that. But we talked about it from a slightly different perspective. There are so many other ways to connect to your sexual power. And the main thing that I learned and that I kind of want to like start off as the first key point is that connecting to your pleasure and experiencing pleasure every single day is one of the biggest ways to start harnessing this power. Kaylee really emphasized for people who are interested in maybe discovering if they're a sex witch and what that might look like or just practicing sex magic in general. She really emphasized, oh my God, look at my dog. She sits up there and chews on her toys because she's better than us. One thing that Kaylee really emphasized though was making sure that at least in some way, they can look different every single day, finding ways to connect to your pleasure, whether that's self-pleasuring or just feeling the sun on your skin and going for a walk and doing something that makes you feel good, or dancing every single day, or whatever that looks like for you. And maybe it's a little bit self-explanatory, but the second thing I was gonna bring up is that the sacral chakra is kind of the main chakra that we're working with when we're utilizing this kind of magic. So what does that have to do with? Creativity, or creation in general, pleasure, sexuality, and just creativity in general. Working bitches, I do that shit constantly, especially when I really need to like move around stagnant energy. And if I just feel like, oh, I'm in a funk, I need to get rid of it, I need to do something, I need to move my body, twerking. I highly recommend Twerking to Cobra, Megan Thee Stallion's new song. Let's take a hit and then I'm about to get a little bit deeper, no pun intended, a little bit juicier, no pun intended, but it's starting to feel intentional. I'm not gonna lie, it feels that way, but it wasn't. Let's all take a hit and then I wanna give you guys some tips that not only did Kaylee and I talk about, but also I bought a book called Sex Witch by Sophie St. Thomas. And holy shit, it's so amazing. Also, it's super LGBTQ friendly. It's incredibly inclusive. Okay, so here's the part that I thought was really fucking tea, honestly. So say that you are practicing sex magic and you want to set some intention. So, right, okay. Typically, if I wasn't doing like witch talk, right, and like that vocabulary, I would say, okay, I'm gonna set intentions and like offer my energy to the universe. In this case, we're like casting a spell, essentially. If you are trying to cast a spell, you 9 times out of 10 are just better off doing it like yourself, like self-pleasuring and doing it that way, like how I always talk about masturbating and manifesting. That's probably gonna be your best bet, especially if you're just starting out. Here's the main reason why. If you are doing the D with, for lack of a better word, a muggle, someone who not only isn't into spirituality, witchcraft, all of the above, but who also doesn't believe in it really and thinks that it's kind of like mumbo jumbo and thinks maybe it's like silly and maybe you're kind of silly but you're hot so you're still gonna fuck. Don't tell them that you are setting a spell. Just keep that to yourself. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm petting my dog, by the way. I'm gonna tell you why. Because their energy can fuck up yours, especially if they know you're doing it. It'll intensify it, kind of fucking it up, because if they don't believe in it or if they try to like block it somehow because they know you're doing it, it's just not good. It's just gonna like disrupt the effectiveness of your spell. A secret, you say? I love a good secret, bitch. Absolutely. So yeah, overall, it's just kind of safer to keep it to yourself. honestly, just do it while you're self-pleasuring. That's going to be probably the most effective outcome. I love how like sex witchcraft and sex magic in general is so similar to the stuff that I was kind of doing, which was like the spiritual manifest masturbate. It's all the same thing, just like different words that resonate with different people. And it was so cool just because like I feel like I'm a witch. I also feel like I'm an alien. I also feel like I'm an angel. I also feel like I'm a star seed. I feel like I'm a witch who practices sex magic. I don't know if I would call myself a sex witch. I would call myself a weed witch. I also bought a book called Weed Witch. Same author, Sophie St. Thomas. Love you, girl. And I was like, oh, period, done. Yes, correct. That's it. That's me, 100%. That's correct. Me. That's all me. That's a bit of me, love. Yeah, that's a bit of me. A weed witch. I think that's a bit of me. My Instagram bio has Weed Witch in it now because I read that and I was like, it's done. It's a wrap. So back to what Kaylee said about finding ways to pleasure yourself every single day. Yeah, you didn't have to tell me twice. I love myself. I'm a little itty bit self-centered. I would love to pleasure myself every day in some way. Again, doesn't have to be the same, whatever. It's just an excuse for me to give myself a little treat every day. And I am so down. And honestly, I kind of needed that motherfucking reminder because I felt like I was going through life recently like, oh, I'm a little tired. I feel like every day I am just tired. Like I'm grateful, I'm happy and shit, but I'm tired. And Kaylee came on the podcast and was like, when was the last time you just like genuinely enjoyed each part of your day and like were intentional about enjoying your day and like felt the sun on your skin? And you know, we said this a lot on the podcast, but sex magic is just healing in general. Being a witch is nothing to be scared of. Being a sex witch is nothing to be scared of or ashamed of. I know witches, I love witches, I am a witch, and an angel and a starseed and an alien. And I love getting to know and interview cool fucking people. Like, how cool is it that I know someone who's a fucking sex witch? That's lit, and that I get to interview her. And then I get to relay a lot of the stuff that I learned or some of my favorite key points back to you guys. It would be really fucking cool if y'all could go listen to that podcast episode though, because I was just scratching the surface. Kaylee really went in depth with examples and her own personal testimony about finding her sexuality and her journey to becoming a sex witch and just actually owning and embracing who she is and how she kind of discovered that path. It was a really fun conversation and it was a little sexy, so I highly recommend. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, tell your friends, tell your grandma. Please like, subscribe, stay high.